Hello lovely brides and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren, wedding planner and owner of Bluebird Creative. If you haven't already, then make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for a weekly dose of wedding planning goodness for the modern couple. I'm gonna dive straight into this video this week because I'll be perfectly honest with you, I am so hot. The weather this week is incredible, absolutely incredible. And if you haven't followed me on Instagram before, where I'm usually moaning about how hot or cold my office is, that's not all I do, then you will know, or you won't know, that my office is a loft conversion. And right now in this 33-degree heat, it is so hot. So I'm gonna stop wasting time telling you about how hot I am and crack on with the video. This week's video is my 8 reasons why having a wedding planning budget is the most important thing you can do in your wedding planning. Let's just dive straight in. Okay, so I know, I'm talking about budget. It's not exciting. It's not the fun part of wedding planning. It's not the design. We're not talking about colours. I know, but stick with me. Please stick with me, because if you listen to these tips, you will find your wedding planning so much easier. You will have a better relationship with your wedding planning. Your budget will free you and make you feel better during the whole process. You will not have the same levels of stress, because money gives us stress. If you have it under control, you will feel so much better. So stick with me throughout this video, because trust me, you will thank me at the end, I promise. Okay, so first things first, one of the most important things is to make sure that you allocate your money properly. Now, I have done a video on splitting your wedding planning budget before, so I will link it here. So go follow that video. Essentially, know what your budget is, and then allocate it appropriately using my system, which again is featured in that video. You need to work out, okay, I'm going to put 50% of my budget towards the venue and the catering. I'm going to put 10% towards this. I'm going to put 5% towards the florist, or whatever you decide to do. Follow the formula and let it help you work out how much to allocate towards each supplier, because trust me, this will make life so much easier. Do not go in planning blind, people. Okay, so second of all, be honest with yourself. If you have bought something that you think, oh, I quite like that, I'm going to buy that for the wedding, add it to your budget, add it to your spreadsheet, work out all those suppliers that are going to be involved in your wedding, and then add even those little bits. If it's for decor, add it to the decor budget, add it to the furniture budget. If you've decided that you're hiring 16 random rattan armchairs for a decorative area. I don't know why you'd have 16. But be honest. All those little things that you think, oh, it's only £2.50, it's only this, it's only that, they add up. They will affect your budget. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your budget and add it in. Next is to do your research properly. So what I mean for this is, if you have allocated a particular amount of money for your florist and for your photographer, when you are researching your suppliers, make sure that you are researching properly in terms of what type of supplier. Do they match your budget? Don't set your budget here and start researching photographers up here. Know what your budget is, and if it's not going to work, then you need to tweak your budget elsewhere. But be sensible with who you're researching and what suppliers you're approaching, so that they can fit within your budget. Now, throughout the whole wedding planning process, one of my biggest pieces of advice is to keep referring back to your budget. Don't write it at the beginning and then just crack on, because you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall at a hurdle. It won't work. You will get to the end and think, I did not stick to my budget. Constantly refer back. Every time you book a supplier, refer back to your budget. How has this affected the budget? Are we still on budget? Are we slightly over? Where do I need to tweak it? Again, if you're not a numbers person, this may sound boring, but it doesn't matter. You know, you want to have a good day. You don't want the stress, and you definitely don't want the aftermath after the wedding of the, oh no, what do I do? So keep referring back to that spreadsheet. If you love a spreadsheet, you'll be loving this. Okay, so next is to stay on track, guys. Once you've written your list of suppliers, don't start throwing in other random suppliers that you've decided that you want now, once you've started your planning, because there's no budget for them. Where are you going to find this money? Unless suddenly you've got a bonus and you know that you've got a bit of extra money, or you've come in lower somewhere else, then fine. But just be really conscious of what you're adding in, and is there actually any money for that? So just try and stay on track with what you've set out in the start and in the beginning of your planning. Okay, next is just be prepared for the unexpected. Things happen, things pop up. Sometimes things end up costing more than you'd hoped. You just need to make sure that you have a little bit of contingency when you're working that budget. Have a tiny bit of contingency in there to allow for mishaps or anything unexpected. It's really important to do this so that you don't end up in a bit of a pickle. These things don't always come up, but sometimes they do. So it's good to just have a little bit of a contingency and just be prepared for the unexpected. And next is obviously you are in this together. So make sure that you are discussing things together. Budget, money, it's always a topic that can end up in a little bit of a heated discussion with your partner. And just ensure that this doesn't happen. Again, be honest, constantly be talking about how much you're willing to spend on each areas. What's important to you? What's important to you? Make sure that you know that right at the beginning so that you're singing off the same hymn sheet and that you know where you're both heading throughout the whole wedding planning journey. Otherwise, you're going to butt heads, and that's not fun for anybody, because this is supposed to be about celebrating the two of you and not causing stress for the two of you. And finally, I kind of touched on it earlier, but what you don't want is to have the aftermath after the wedding. And that's when you sit down and perhaps you need to pay up some final payments and you realise how much you've gone over and how much you perhaps don't now have for your honeymoon, or how you're going to actually deal with paying for these extra things that you've added on. You don't want to deal with the aftermath. So make sure you've set out at the beginning, you know where the money's coming from and you know how much money you have got for each supplier and how much your budget is. You're referring back to it constantly, you're singing off the same hymn sheet, you've found suppliers that fit within your budget, there won't be an aftermath. You'll do it and you'll absolutely smash it. So there you go, guys, my 8 reasons why it is so important to be on top of your wedding planning budget. Do this and you will fly, my friends. You will fly with your wedding planning budget. I hope you found that helpful. If you aren't already, then make sure you are joining and involved in my free wedding planning Facebook group, the Bride Academy. There is a link to it below, and there's also my free wedding planning checklist for 12 months of wedding planning goodness, totally free. So grab that below. I will see you next week for some more wedding planning goodness. Until then, guys, have a fab week. I'm going to go drive straight into this video this week. Drive? I'm not driving anywhere. It's too quick and just be prepared.